Alrighty YouTube, another one of Kip's clips. So I was just having a wee look through the raw story there. It's like a news aggregate, and it was pointing out the article that was out yesterday about Winston Churchill's shocking use of chemical weapons. Now it's not so shocking for people who are aware of the actual history of chemical weapons usage, and I'll point that out to you in the absolute hypocritical stance of all these fucking moronic people standing up there saying this country's bad, that country's bad, when their own countries have used these weapons against a treaty, against a Hague treaty, and I'll go on and show you the history of that as well. So this article is basically just pointing to the Guardian story. So Winston Churchill's shocking use of chemical weapons. The use of chemical weapons in Syria has outraged the world, but it's easy to forget that Britain has used them, and that Winston Churchill was a powerful advocate for them. Secretary was paramount. Britain's Imperial General Staff knew there would be outrage if it became known that the government was intending to use its secret stockpile of chemical weapons. But Winston Churchill, then Secretary of War, okay, here's another really good Orwellian Jedi mind trick to point out. Yes, it used to be called not the Secretary of Defence or the Department of Defence. They called it the Department of War because that is what it is before the Orwellian fucking Jedi mind tricks dripped into all forms of government language. Brushed aside their concerns as a long-term advocate of chemical warfare, he was determined to use them against the Russian the Bolsheviks in the summer of 1919, 94 years before the devastating strike in Syria. Churchill planned and executed a sustained chemical attack on northern Russia. So here you go, this bastion that everybody holds up. Winston Churchill, yeah! He was brilliant, he won World War II, what a fucking leader. Go and look into this guy, man, he was a bit of a cretin. Politically, I'm unsure of him, to be honest. But personally, he was a prick. I mean, go and hear people that interacted with this guy. He was a bodjaw, man. And everybody holds him up as a bad. Oh, it's Winston Churchill, yeah, patriotic. Yeah, this prick was fucking wanting to gas people. And now Assad's bad. And I don't even think he's used them. He's only got his stockpile of chemical warfare to war off the Israelis. Who has the biggest problem with Syria having a stockpile of chemical weapons? That would be Israel, because it's preventing them to go in there and fucking retake the 25% of the Golan Heights that Assad's dad took back off them. Okay? Simples, man. That is what this is all about. The British were no strangers to the use of chemical weapons. During the third battle of Gaza, 1917, General Edmund Allenby had fired 10,000 cans of asphyxiating gas at enemy positions to limited effect, but in the final months of the First World War, scientists at the government laboratories at Porton in Wiltshire developed a far more devastating weapon, the top secret M device, an exploding shell containing a highly toxic gas called that one. The man in charge of developing it, Major General Charles Foulkes, called it the most effective chemical weapon ever devised. Now this is another hypocritical fucking bullshit thing I want to point out. Chemical weapons are fine to use in Western imperial eyes, for them to take over the world and use it in their warfare. But when they get to a state where then the states that are fighting against them now have the knowledge to produce chemical warfare, that is when it gets banned. Same with nuclear. It was okay when we only had it, but when everybody's got it, oh, we need to ban it. Do you see how it works? We're first with it. The Western imperial people are first with the weapons of mass destruction. They use it for their own gains, for their own wars in particular parts of the world. And then when people who are fighting against them gain that technology, that is when it becomes internationally unacceptable to kill somebody with gas, but with a bullet it's still cool. But don't kill somebody with nuclear, but a bullet's still good. Do you know what I mean? It's how can you distinguish about what's the best way and most ethical way of killing innocent people? Fucking hypocritical bullshit, man. I'm sick of it. Trials at Porton suggest that it was indeed a terrible new weapon. Just before I go on and read the rest of this, before I lose people getting bored with me reading crap, let's just have a wee look at the history of chemical warfare, okay? 1899 Hague Convention bans the use of asphyxiating and detoxifiers gases launched by projectiles, okay? That was in 1899, signed in The Hague. 1915, Germany used them. 1915, Germany uses them and Allied forces. 1935, Italy uses it in Ethiopia. Japan uses various gases in China. 1937 to 45. 62 to 67, let's not forget America. Yes, they used herbicides and tear gas in Vietnam, seen by some as a breach of the Geneva Protocol. But hey, let's not mention any of that, because these are all people that fucking are imperialists. Iraq uses various gases against Iran and the Kurds. Yeah, well, let's put the blame at that solely at the CIA. It was Rumsfeld that supplied Saddam Hussein with the chemical weapons, and it was the CIA that supplied Saddam with the satellite images of the Iranian troops so he could fire gas at them and kill thousands. Okay, so that, again, that blame lays solely at the door of the United States. 1995, that attack in the Tokyo metro. Then 2013, and this is good information, but again, they're perpetuating the lie that Assad used chemical weapons. Nobody is questioning, even all the good articles you get out there, nobody still yet that the Jedi mind trick seems to be like, oh, right, okay, we understand the world's position, we don't want war and stuff, but look, Assad is really bad for using chemical weapons. The debate about Assad using chemical weapons for me isn't ended. In fact, there's no point in that. There's no proving that he done it. I think it's very unlikely that he done it, so you cannot justify killing people on a presumption. So I'll leave a link for all this down below. You can go and check it out, because this has got some interesting quotes in it about Churchill. What was it he said? He'd been asking his military chiefs to reconsider the question of using poison gas against Germany, telling them that he wanted cold-blooded calculation rather than moralistic arguments about the unique iniquity of chemical weapons. The Joint Chiefs unanimously came down against the idea. Churchill grumpily acquiesced. Now there you go, Winston Churchill, you know this, well, everybody holds him up on this pedestal. This man wanted cold-blooded calculations when it came to killing people. No morals involved whatsoever. Okay, this is the people that have got the imperial empire and the countries within the imperial empire at the stage it is at now, using these fucking weapons, but now people can't use them against us because that's bad. So I'll leave a link for us, got lots of good information in it as well. Let's just see what it's saying back here. So it's talking about the trials at Portland suggest that it was indeed a terrible new weapon. Vomiting, coughing up blood, and instance crippling fatigue were the most common reactions. The overall head of chemical warfare production, Sir Keith Price. You know what, mate? You've done such a good job at producing those weapons of mass destruction, we are now going to call you a Sir. Sir Jimmy Savile and Sir Keith Price. I salute yous both. Yous are both sirs in the eyes of the fucking monarchy of the British Empire. I was convinced that its use would lead to the rapid collapse of the Bolsheviks regime. If you got home only once with the gas, you would find no more Bolsheviks in this Bolsheviks this side of Volga. The cabinet was hostile to the use of such weapons, much to Churchill's irritation. He also wanted to use devices against the rebellious tribes of northern India. I am strongly in favour of using poisonous gas against uncivilised tribes. He declared in one such memorandum. He criticised his colleagues for their squeamishness, declaring that the objections of the India office to the use of gas against natives and unreasonables. Gas is the most merciful weapon than the high explosive shell and compels an enemy to accept a decision with less loss of life than any other agency of war. Now, I could happily quite have a debate with Churchill about that, okay? But what I'm trying to point out, because I think there is an argument to be had, what's different between killing somebody with a chemical weapon and a bullet in the brain, okay? And I'm for that argument. You shouldn't be killing anybody with anything, full stop. All killing should be fucking banned by treaty, not just killing people in certain fucking ways. But this just points out the absolute hypocrisy of Winston Churchill, a fucking bastion held up as a really good leader of the UK back in prior and during World War II, and this guy was wanting to just poison gas fucking uncivilised tribes because they weren't up for the British Empire. He ended his memo on a note of ill-placed black humour. Why is it not fair for a British artilleryman to fire a shell which makes the said native sneeze? He asked. It's really too silly. A staggering 50,000 M devices were shipped to Russia. British aerials attacks using them began on the 27th of August 1919, targeting the village of Emstra, 120 miles south of Archangel. Bolshevik soldiers were seen fleeing in panic as the green chemical gas drifted towards them. Those caught in the cloud vomited blood, then collapsed unconscious. The attacks continued throughout September on many Bolshevik-held villages. Those ones, I'm not going to murder their names, but the weapons provided less effective than Churchill had hoped, partly because of the damp autumn weather, but by September the attacks were halted, then stopped. 2 weeks later the remaining weapons were dumped in the White Sea. They remain on the seabed to this day in 40 fathoms of water. So there you go, Winston Churchill. Would he say, if he was alive today, would he be able to condemn, if Assad used the weapons, would he be able to stand up and condemn Assad? He probably would, but his hypocrisy would stink and it would be easily pointed out, just like the rest of the Western politicians, especially on this matter. Now I'll leave a link for the Raw Stories link and the Guardian's link. Check out the Raw Story, it's a good news aggregate, you get a lot of different articles there, and I'll leave a link for this article on the use of chemical weapons. Okay, it's been every single time they have been used, it's been they've been used against the Hague Convention. Granted, you had the CWC in 1992, and in 1997 it enters into force. Do bear in mind, Syria, Sudan, and another 3 or 4 other countries didn't sign that treaty. So that is why the international community is talking about international norms and not international law, because Assad has broke no law and no treaty with the use of chemical weapons. So now they're talking about international law, international norms, and that basically now sets up the precedent that anybody, like, going forward, it doesn't matter if somebody's in the law, if they don't like it, they can just go, well, that's not the norm, let's bomb the shit out of them. So all the links will be down below, as I said. So thumbs it up, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, if you're glad I brought the information to your attention. Subscribe to my channel down below to keep up to date with the latest news and updates. Check out Facebook and Twitter links, that's a good way to keep in touch if they shut the channel down again. Check out the radio show link, live every Saturday, 8 to 10 UK time, unboundradio.com. And leave me all your comments below, good, bad, ugly and indifferent, they're all welcome. Let me know what you think. I just like to point out the absolute complete hypocrisy of this whole scenario. I can see right through it. They ain't got an argument, and if people are armed with the facts, they win every argument. They're hypocrites and warmongers, and if you've got the information, you can defeat their arguments quite easy. Alrighty, YouTube, thanks for listening. Catchies.